Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. Great to be here.
We're coming to you today from the C9 Podcast Show.
And today we are really focusing in quite tightly on a critical issue for Australian business owners and C-level executives.
That's right. It's all about tackling that challenge of finding top-tier tech talent.
Yeah.
Especially in such a high-cost, competitive local market.
Exactly. Our mission today is to unpack the source material you've provided us, looking specifically at staff augmentation.
Yeah, particularly those remote and hybrid models that are, well, really changing how businesses operate globally.
We know the challenges you're likely facing, the constant pressure of managing operational details, those bottlenecks.
And the real struggle to find skilled developers here in Australia. Plus, let's not forget the drag from, older legacy systems.
These aren't small issues, are they? They can seriously impact growth. The sources point this out clearly. We're looking at average IT salaries, fully loaded, often pushing past AUD 120,000.
Sometimes well past that. And when you add in slow hiring, lack of specific expertise, well, it's a recipe for missing targets.
And watching competitors perhaps get ahead because they're more agile, it's a high-stakes situation for Australian leaders.
But there is a strategic way forward. The data shows staff augmentation isn't just some temporary trend. It's becoming essential.
Absolutely. Look at the projections. The IT staff augmentation market, it's expected to explode from around, USD 300 billion in 2023?
There's over USD 857 billion by 2031. That's a huge compound annual growth rate, something like 13.2%.
Which tells you this is mainstream. It's a core strategy now for building and scaling tech teams effectively.
Okay, let's dig into that growth rate a bit. For an executive looking at the bottom line, is this just about cutting costs, or is it really driven by needing skills you just can't find locally?
That's the core of it, isn't it? The sources really suggest it's both, converging. Australia has a structural talent problem.
We're looking at a projected 25% jump in demand for developers and similar tech roles by 2031.
And the local pipeline, education, graduates, it just can't keep up with that kind of speed. If you wait, you're already behind.
Right. And inaction here, it has knock-on effects that hit the P&L directly.
Precisely. First, you risk burning out your current team. High turnover, high stress. That's costly in itself.
And second, delays in projects, not being able to update those old systems, that means missed revenue. Poor customer experience.
Definitely. Those risks are very real and they erode your competitive edge pretty quickly.
So the strategy has to shift. It's not just about finding that local unicorn developer anymore. It's about looking globally.
Which brings us to the hybrid advantage, using nearshore and offshore talent hubs smartly.
Thinking smarter, not just harder, as you said. So for an executive weighing this up, what are the tangible benefits of looking towards, say, Southeast Asia, the Philippines, for example?
The benefits are compelling and they're measurable. Let's talk cost first.
Give us the numbers. We hear cost savings, but what does it actually mean compared to hiring locally in Sydney or Melbourne?
We're talking potentially significant savings. Up to 60% compared to a fully loaded local hire.
And fully loaded means more than just salary,
And
right?
absolutely, you've got superannuation, payroll tax, recruitment agency fees, training, health insurance contributions, leave loading, office space, equipment. It all adds up. Shifting that strategically, that gives you enormous leverage.
Okay, cost is one big factor. But the sources also talk about expertise and speed. Are these external teams just for basic stuff, or can they handle the really complex challenges, like AI integration or cloud migrations?
No, they're absolutely specialized now. The market provides access to skills that are in incredibly high demand. Think AI specialists, cloud architects, niche cybersecurity experts.
Skills that are often really expensive or just unavailable here when you need them.
Exactly. And in places like the Philippines, the time difference is often minimal, maybe 2-3 hours.
So collaboration isn't a huge headache. They're working pretty much alongside your Australian team.
It makes things much more seamless, and it gives you that agility, that scalability. You can ramp up or down in weeks, not the months it takes for internal hiring.
Okay. And this connects to what the sources call the C9 blended approach.
Yes. This isn't just about finding the cheapest option, it's smarter. It combines that offshore efficiency, say, from Southeast Asia with Australian-based leadership.
Why is that local leadership piece so important?
Governance, trust, cultural alignment, communication. It ensures the project stays on track and meets Australian business standards. And this blended model, according to the reports, has led to 30–50% faster project delivery for Australian SMEs.
30 to 50% faster delivery. That's a serious boost to the bottom line. And thinking back to our earlier point, how does this model help with those legacy systems, the old clunky ones?
That's a key advantage. Those old systems may be niche ERPs or platforms running on older code like COBOL. They need very specific, sometimes hard to find skills.
Skills that can be very expensive locally if you can even find someone.
Right. With a global talent pool, you can bring in specialists who focus just on those integrations or migrations. They handle modernizing that specific piece, connecting it via APIs, while your local team can focus on the new architecture. It helps clear technical debt without that huge local cost.
It sounds almost too good to be true. If the savings and speed are there, what stops everyone just grabbing the cheapest offshore team they find online? Which brings us to the risks.
And that skepticism is healthy, because in the rush for quick results, there's a big temptation to cut corners, which leads us to the concept of AI cowboys.
Right. Those outfits promising incredibly fast, cheap app development, almost instant results.
And their risky practice, as the sources term it, is vibes coding.
Vibes coding, explain that.
Think of it like building a house with random prefab parts you found online, hoping they fit. It relies heavily on AI, like large language models, to churn out big chunks of code based on simple prompts.
Skipping the crucial steps.
Exactly. Skipping detailed planning, rigorous security checks, solid architectural design, human oversight. It looks functional initially, maybe.
But it becomes a nightmare later on. Let's talk financial risk first. What happens down the track?
Well, the upfront cost might look low, but the data from real cases shows businesses facing 20–30% higher rework costs later, just to fix the unstable, poorly documented code. That cheap solution ends up costing way more.
Okay, higher costs later. What about security, if the foundation's dodgy?
The whole thing is vulnerable. Vibes-coded apps often have brittle architecture. Because the code is just sort of scraped and stitched together, it can be full of security holes the AI didn't catch, and the developers might not have the depth to find them either.
Meaning one attack could be devastating. Data loss, compliance fines.
Exactly. And then there's the intellectual property minefield.
Because the AI trained on public code.
Precisely. There's a real legal gray area around the ownership of AI-generated code. You could be building your core business asset on potentially infringing code without even knowing it. That's a huge risk for any executive.
And the final nail in the coffin seems to be knowledge loss.
Yes, the black box problem. The AI cowboy delivers the app, but there's often zero knowledge transfer. Your internal team gets a code base they can't properly maintain or evolve.
So you're stuck. You can't build on it. You can't learn from it. It creates this massive technical debt that holds back future innovation.
It really handcuffs you long-term.
Okay, so this brings up a critical question for you, the listener, the executive. How do you avoid these pitfalls?
Yeah.
How do you choose a partner who is strategic, sustainable, and not an AI cowboy?
It all comes down to process and precision.
And the sources are really clear on this. The starting point is discovery. Skipping a proper discovery phase. The sources call it the worst idea.
The stats absolutely back that up. Something like 70% of IT projects fail expectations. Over half, 52.7%, go way over budget by an average of 189%.
Wow, 189% average overrun.
And poor planning, that lack of initial discovery, is a massive contributor to those failures.
So what does good discovery look like? Is it some long, painful process?
Not at all. A structured discovery session, maybe 30 to 60 minutes for the initial alignment, is key. A good partner uses this to dive deep. Not just what features do you want, but the non-functional stuff too.
Like security needs, scalability targets, compliance.
Exactly. You should leave that session with real insights and at least the beginnings of a clear, phased roadmap.
And this structured approach directly combats the problem of indicative pricing, right? That vague, it'll be somewhere between X and Y quote.
Oh, absolutely. You've likely seen those ranges, maybe $50K to $70. They feel safe, but they're built on assumptions. And those assumptions are why, according to the data, projects see that average 27% budget overrun. The scope was never properly defined.
So indicative pricing is risky because it's guesswork.
It forces both sides to guess, often optimistically. Discovery-based pricing, though, demands precision. You define the requirements, the user stories, the acceptance criteria first. Then you get an estimate that's precise, often down to the nearest hour.
Let's use that real-world example from the sources. An indicative quote might be, say, AUD 50,000 to 70,000. How does discovery change that?
Through discovery, a strategic partner can break that down, stage the solution, Maybe core development first, then a prototype, then advanced features. That vague 50-70K range might be refined down to a total staged cost of, say, AUD 33,000.
That's a massive difference, potentially saving $17,000 to $37,000 right there.
Exactly. That's capital saved. Plus, by staging it, you often get a working prototype or minimum viable product out early.
A quick win, something that delivers value fast.
Right. It proves the concept, delivers ROI, and that success often funds the confidence and the budget for the next phases. Technology spend becomes a self-funding asset, not just a cost center.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about contracts? The sources suggest a 3 to 6 month lock-in is better. Doesn't that reduce the flexibility that augmentation is supposed to offer?
It's a fair point. Monthly contracts seem more flexible superficially, but the data suggests otherwise for complex projects.
Why is that?
Constant ramp up, ramp down with very short contracts creates friction. It costs time, loses momentum. The sources indicate that slightly longer agreements, that 3-6 month stability, actually deliver much higher long-term ROI, 62% higher, and project success rates jump by 44%.
Okay, so stability leads to better continuity, better team integration.
And crucially, better knowledge transfer.
Back to avoiding the black box.
Exactly. Good partners, like those using that C9 blended model we mentioned, build education into the process. Things like paired programming, really thorough documentation.
So your team learns alongside the augmented team.
Yes. The goal is to boost your internal capability. The data suggests this approach improves capability development by around 67%. Your custom software becomes something you truly own and can maintain, a sustainable asset.
So bringing it all together for you, the Australian business owner or C-level executive listening, the choice seems pretty stark.
It is. It's choosing a strategic, structured, path-precision process, leveraging global talent smartly, versus the risky shortcuts of the AI cowboys that end up costing more.
This isn't just about plugging a gap. It's about fundamentally redesigning for efficiency.
It's about using global expertise strategically to cut costs, yes, but also to tackle that legacy system drag, to innovate faster, and ultimately to hit those growth targets and stay competitive in the Australian market.
You've likely felt the pain of the talent crunch and the high costs for long enough. It really is time for a solution built on a solid strategic partnership.
And that's where C9 comes in. As Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company, we specialize in exactly these kinds of blended solutions. Trustworthy, innovative.
So take that next step.
Visit the website, www.c9.com.au. You can schedule a free, no-obligation discovery call there. Let's work together on a precise plan to turn your current challenges into real breakthroughs.
And one last thing. If this deep dive resonated with you, if it sparked an idea or confirmed a concern, please click that follow button.
And share this with other Australian business owners and executives you know who could benefit from thinking strategically about their tech talent.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.